Welcome to the Eli Show. My name is Eli Goodman, and it has been a while. I know that I've had another long gap in between episodes. I do thank Lisa Ostrander for being my guest on my last episode. The reason why I haven't recorded in a while is due to some significant life events, which I will get into a little bit later on in the episode. This one is a solo episode, no guest for this, and it's not going to be too long. My estimate is probably 20, maybe 30 minutes or so. It's going to be CrossFit related. However, before you go ahead and shut it off, for you non-CrossFit people, I do encourage you to listen to it because it's not meant to cater to the CrossFit crowd. Just based specifically how the 2019 CrossFit Open is a very, very important one in my life. How it had a greater significance this year than it's probably going to have in any other year in my life. And that's the point of today's episode. Today's one is solo, but I do plan to have some guests coming up in the future. Hoping to have my friend Mandy and her friend Katie on to talk about a new blog that they've started. I also have somebody coming on named Petty Cash. You heard that correctly. Petty Cash, and you'll see what's in store there. Also going to have some of my friends on that are into certain pop culture things like Game of Thrones as well as the Avengers to talk about those two upcoming events in pop culture. And I'm also going to be dabbling a little bit in maybe some video stuff for the YouTube channel. Some CrossFit related, like going to CrossFit Shatter and documenting the Redemption competition on May 4th. And just putting together a little video there because I've been dabbling in that a little bit. As far as live performances, I'm hoping to do some stand-up sets at the Saratoga Comedy Works on Thursday nights this month. The way that it works is that they do open mic night every Thursday. The professional comedians go from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., and then they have the open micers come on. So I'll be part of that 9 p.m. plus group. I have no idea at what point past 9 p.m. I would be on. But basically going to do that a couple Thursdays. So I'll let you folks know so that you can come and watch me bomb. Contacting the show. You can always go to the EliShow.com. You can email the show at the Eli Show 12. That's the Eli Show, the Eli Show 12 at gmail.com. And you can listen to the show any place you can listen to a podcast. So iTunes, Google Podcast, Spotify, or some of those cool apps that I haven't even heard of. So also Instagram is the Eli Show. And there is a Twitter handle, but I'm not going to say it because I don't like Twitter. I don't know. I just have this disdain for Twitter that makes me not want to use them. Anywho, let's get into the deets of today's episode. It's going to be specifically about how the 2019 CrossFit Open was a special one for me. Before I get into the details of it, let me explain to you non-CrossFitters what the CrossFit Open is. Now, first and foremost, CrossFit is a methodology that's designed for anybody that wants to improve their health. So, we have people that, in the gym that are young. We have people in the gym that are, quote, old, unquote. And all walks of life, all walks of ability levels. A lot of times when people see CrossFit videos on YouTube or something of that nature, they think they would have to be super, super fit before they go into a CrossFit gym. That is simply not the case. If you simply just want to improve your health, you can come into CrossFit 12866, which is on 30 Gick Road here in Saratoga Springs. You can go to CrossFit 12866 on Instagram, CrossFit12866.com, and come in with me. First one's free. But basically anybody that wants to get healthier can do CrossFit. But you may have heard of the CrossFit Games. And the reason why the CrossFit Games exist is that the way CrossFit works is that a lot of the workouts are timed. Basically, the idea is it's either what's called an AMRAP, which is as many reps as possible. So you have certain exercises, and they say complete as many as you can in the next 10 minutes. Or the workout could be what's called for time, where they say, all right, here's the workout, and you got to do the whole thing, and basically you have to do it as fast as you can, and you have to record your time for it. So there might be 3 exercises or 6 exercises, a certain amount of reps for each exercise, and you got to do it as fast as possible and record your time. Now, since a lot of the workouts are time-related, what basically started happening when CrossFit first started is people started to compare their times. They started to compare their times to one another, and then eventually that actually led into CrossFit itself, actually a portion of the people that do CrossFit branching off into an actual competitive sport, where they had events where people would compete against each other to see who did the best. And at the professional level is what's called the CrossFit Games, which is held every year, usually around July, August, in Madison, Wisconsin. It's basically 5 days of events, totaling about 15 events total, where after all the scores are tallied up, there's one man and one woman that are determined the CrossFit Games champions. And it's actually no joke now. Those champions get $500,000 apiece if they win. So if you're good enough at CrossFit, you can actually make it into a professional career. Now, what the Open is it is a qualification process to make it to the CrossFit Games. Every year, it's 5 straight weeks, usually around February and March, where the workout is announced on Thursday night, and you have to complete the workout and submit your score by 8 p.m. on Monday. And then your score is tallied up compared to everybody else that also did the workout. And under the age of 35, the top 20 men and the top 20 women get to go to the CrossFit Games and compete for that top prize. Now, notice how I said under 35 there. Beyond age 35 is what's called masters athletes. So people like myself, age 38, I'm in the masters category. And the masters categories are basically 5-year age brackets. And they go all the way up to 60 plus. And so the way that those work is that if you're in that masters category, if you're in the top 200 in your age bracket, you get to do another qualification open to actually try to get to the CrossFit Games as a masters athlete. And there are some congratulations in order for folks that at my gym. Kevin Ostrander, who is the owner of CrossFit 12866, with his wife, who was the episode 12 guest, Lisa Ostrander, was in the top 200 in his age bracket. So he gets into that next online qualification group. At Lake George CrossFit, which is our sister gym up in Lake George, Sally McGurk, or I think I said her name wrong. It's McGuirk. McGurk, I don't know. She got into the top 200 in her age bracket. So she is going further into this process. And so congratulations to you two for all your hard work and your success in the 2019 Open. Now, as you can tell, though, 20 men, 20 women, most people that participate in the Open, which is usually around 400,000, are not going to go to the CrossFit Games. So what does it mean for your everyday CrossFitter like myself that participates? What it means for the everyday CrossFitter is it is a way to compare what you did to the previous year to sort of measure how you are improving in CrossFit as a CrossFit athlete, as an amateur athlete. And so the whole idea is, have you progressed from the previous year? And the way that this works is that there's two different levels when they announce the workouts. There's what's called the RX level, or as prescribed, because they'll say for the men, it's this weight that you have to move, it's this many reps that you have to do, and you have to do these movements. Same thing for the women. This much weight, these kind of moves, this amount of reps. But as I said earlier, there are CrossFit athletes that are at all sorts of levels. So there might be people that can't do those movements yet. So then they have what's called scaled, where the movements are not as hard or the weights are not as heavy, but it's just something that maybe you can complete more reps of. And if you do the scaled workout, you get less points on your score, so as far as in the standings, than if you do the workout RX, if you do it as prescribed. And so, first and foremost, the first year that I did this was 2017, but it was very, very early in my CrossFit life. I started CrossFit January 21st, 2017, and the Open started in February. And so I did all workouts scaled. I was nowhere near the RX level at that point. And so was very, very, very low in the standings. But I was happy that I did it because it is fun. So you do 5 workouts over the course of 5 weeks. And 2018, over the course of those 5 weeks, I was able to do 2 of the workouts RX and 3 scaled. And so felt pretty good about that. Felt really good about that, as a matter of fact, to be able to do anything RX, because my skill level was still pretty low at that point. This year, in 2019, I was able to do all 5 workouts in the RX category. Now, I didn't complete all 5, but I was able to try all 5 in the RX level. So right then and there, it had shown that I had significant improvement from 2018 to 2019 as far as the standings were concerned. I moved up 8,467 spots in the standings in my age bracket. Now, that's a significant bump, so I was pretty happy about that. But it's not directly comparable year to year because a little bit less people participated in the 2019 Open than the 2018 Open. So what you have to take a closer look at is the percentile. So what percentile did you fall in? What percentage of people did you outperform? And I was able to move up 12% as far as the percentile points there. So that was also something that I was very proud of. Now, one of the big things that happens in the Open, though, is when you want to try them RX, there may be moves that you've never done before. Maybe a move that you never attempted, or a move that you've tried before that you haven't been able to do. I got a burp. Hold on. Excuse me. Anywho, so I just told the recording to hold on. But so what tends to happen in the Open is people try things that they either maybe have not really tried a lot before or have never tried before because the workout calls for it. Within reason. You don't want to hurt yourself or anything like that. So what you tend to see a lot of videos on things like Instagram, YouTube, etc., is somebody in a local gym do something they've never done before, and a lot of people cheer them on. For Sally, who ended up in the top 200 in her age bracket, she had never done what's called a chest to bar pull-up. And the way that works, most pull-ups are just get your chin over the bar. But a chest to bar pull-up, the bar has to actually hit you on your chest below your collarbone. And during that workout, I was working out at the same time in a different lane. But I heard, somebody cheer out. I heard a bunch of people cheer, and specifically one person, get very, very excited because they had done a move that they had never done before. And that's what Sally did. Sally did a chest to bar pull-up, and she had never done one before. And she got very, very excited. And that's just the kind of, the spirit of this event. For those of you that don't do CrossFit, is a lot of times people end up doing something they didn't think they could do just by simply trying it. Now, for me, 2 moves came up in the Open that I never even tried before. One is a handstand walk. Now, that's exactly as it sounds. You get upside down into a handstand and you walk on your hands. Very, very tough move. Most CrossFit participants cannot do that move. It's for very, very advanced athletes. And I didn't even get to the point where I was able to attempt it. The clock ran out before I even got to that point. But even if I would have got to that point and there was still time left on the clock, probably would not have even attempted it because I would have come close to injury on that. But another move that came up that I never even attempted before is what's called a bar muscle up. The way a bar muscle up works is it's not a pull up. It's basically a combination of a really, really intense pull up. So much more than your chin over the bar, much more than your chest over the bar, and like a dip where you use your triceps to get yourself up. So what you have to do to complete a bar muscle up is you have to not only get above the bar, but you actually have to push yourself up so that your arms are fully extended and that your entire torso is above the bar. This came up in 19.4, which is the 4th of the 5 workouts. I never even attempted one before. When it got to that point in the workout, I said, okay, here it goes. And I attempted probably about 12 times and got really, really close to being able to complete one, but didn't get there before, the buzzer sounded. And so I was disappointed, but not too disappointed because I never tried it before and I got really, really close. Recently, though, last Monday, which was the first Monday after the Open was done, Tiffany Foley, one of the coaches at CrossFit 12866, would not let it go, basically. She said, get up there and start working on that because you were so close. And many of you probably saw on social media, I was able last Monday to complete 2 of them that I had never done before. And that gave me a very, very good feeling. So why am I recording this? Why am I recording this episode? Just to toot my own horn and let you know how I improved over the course of the year, which many of you are probably very, very bored at this point in time. The reason why I wanted to record this episode is how significant the Open was for me in this year, 2019. Because a very major life event happened right in the middle of the CrossFit Open. The CrossFit Open began on Thursday, February 21st. That's when they announced the first workout, 19.1. So we did that, submitted the score by Monday at 8 p.m. And so February 28th was the next day that they were going to make the announcement. On Thursday, February 28th, though, a major event happened for me. I went to my office, and before I got upstairs, they brought me into a room downstairs and basically said, we no longer need your services. You're done. And I had been doing my job for 10 and a half years. I'd been with that company for quite some time. Now, I'm not going to say the name of them, and I'm not going to disparage them because that's just the way corporate America works. They need your services and then they don't. And I had a very, very good 10 years, and I was able to do a lot of really, really cool things working for that company. So I have no ill will whatsoever towards them. But the reason why the Open is so significant for me at this juncture is that was after the first workout. We still had 4 workouts left after that one. And many of you know, because I recorded a whole episode about it, that I have a depression problem. I suffer from depression, and I've dealt with that for quite some time, ever since I was about 12 years old. And I was talking to my closest friend, Brian Mockery, who was obviously, episode 1 guest for the Eli Show, about this life event that happened to me. And I told him, I said, you know what, if this would have happened 3 years ago, if I would have lost my job 3 years ago, I probably would have committed suicide. I know that that's kind of a harsh thing to say, but knowing my mental health at that point in time, this would have been a life event that I would have not been able to endure. But one of the reasons I think people get so addicted to CrossFit is, especially people that suffer from depression, is it gives you two things that really, really help with depression. Number one, community. I've posted a lot about this book called Lost Connections, written by a guy named Johan Hari. And this guy suffers from depression himself, but he basically dedicated his life to figuring out what really causes depression, beyond the chemical that you've heard of, from doctors and things of that nature. And he said one of the very, very important things is feeling that, you belong somewhere, and that you have, that you're part of a community, basically. And for those of you that don't do CrossFit, it's very, very different than the gym. It's, you get to know everybody's name. You become friends with a lot of them. You socialize with a lot of them. And, if you watch the video on social media of me completing that move, you heard a bunch of people cheering in the background. And those people are my friends. And so having that sense of community, that sense that you belong, has helped me a great, great deal in my depression. I can't even really measure how much it's helped me. But another thing that this book, Lost Connections, by Johan Hari, talks about is another very critical component to treating your depression is having hope for the future. Basically, a lot of really, really depressed people have lost hope for the future. And before I did CrossFit, if I would have lost my job, I would have had no hope for the future. But what CrossFit has taught me is that I am much more capable than I thought I was. That I am capable of bouncing back from this life event, because just as I learned last Monday, I'm doing things now at age 38 that I couldn't do at 18 physically, that I never thought that I would have been able to do. And so it gives me hope. If I can do these things in the gym, what other things can I do outside of the gym? What other things am I capable of professionally? Am I capable of personally? And basically what CrossFit has done is it has given me self-esteem and self-respect. And no longer do I feel like I'm a loser. Even though currently I'm jobless, currently I am single, no significant others to speak of. And so 3 years ago, that would have been the situation, I probably would have given up. Probably would have ended it. But because I have this outlet now, this place to go to not only improve my physical health, but to improve my mental health, I have hope for the future. And the funny part about losing my job on February 28th was, so as I was driving home, after they told me they no longer need my services, my first thoughts were actually, well, I can get to the gym earlier now. I don't have to wait until the 6:30 class today. I can get there at 5 o'clock today. That's actually what the first thought that I had. And so you can pick on me all you want about how much I post about CrossFit. You can pick on me all you want about maybe I'm not as swole as some of you people that do things that are not CrossFit related, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. Really, it's something that, even though it might be an unhealthy obsession, I think it's much more healthy than what the way I was before. So that's it for this. That's the sappy part of it. And the reason why I wanted to record this episode about why the 2019 CrossFit Open was so important in my life this year compared to other years. All right, folks, that's it. I'm going to have some much more entertaining, funny stuff coming up with my guests in the future. Thanks for sticking around and over the last month and with no word from the Eli Show. I promise that will not continue on a regular basis. All right, folks, have a great day, night, week, month, etc.